Daniel Vishnu Bhar Sabai Rajakacharya Shankara Satashi Srimad Bhagavatam Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Daniel Vishnu Bhar Sabai Rajakacharya Shankara Satashi Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Gauri Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Vimsakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kundi Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Or Premanand Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. And all glories to all your wonderful spiritual masters. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, tonight we're studying Canto 4, Chapter 20, Text 28. I'm pretty sure we haven't done this one yet. 4, 20, 28. Canto 4, Chapter 20, verse 28. So I will read the Sanskrit and the translation. Well, first the word for word synonyms, then the translation, and then the purport. Okay. And, you know, actually, I have, okay, so I guess we'll just wait until later because I don't see the button for screen sharing. There it is. Okay, so let me just go ahead and get this pulled up because this actually is the verse for tonight. Okay, so now let's get back to this Zoom page and we'll do. Okay, share screen. Okay, right here. Okay, so today is September 5th, 2020. Srimad Bhagvatam 4, 2028. Jagat Jananyam Jagadisha Vaishasam Syat Eva Yat Karmani Na Samhitam Karoshi Bhagavapyurudina Vatsala Swa Eva Dishni Viratasya Kingtaya. Word for word synonyms. Jagat Jananyam, in the mother of the universe, Lakshmi. Jagat Isha, O Lord of the universe. Vaishasam, anger, Syat, may arise, Eva, certainly, Yat Karmani, in whose activity, Naha, my, Samihitam, desire, Hiroshi, you consider, Halgu, insignificant service, Api, even, Uru, very great, Dina Vatsalaha, favorably inclined to the poor, Sway, own, Ava, certainly, Dishnie, in your opulence, Abhiratasya, of one who is fully satisfied, Kim, what need is there? Taya, with her. Translation, my dear Lord of the universe. Now, this is Prithu Maharaj speaking. My dear Lord of the universe, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is the mother of the universe. And yet I think that she may be angry with me because of my intruding upon her service and acting on that very platform to which she is so much attached. Yet I am hopeful that even though there is some misunderstanding, you will take my part, for you are very much inclined to the poor, and you always magnify even insignificant service unto you. Therefore, even though she becomes angry, I think that there is no harm for you, because you are so self-sufficient that you can do without her. Please repeat. My dear Lord of the universe, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is the mother of the universe. And yet I think that she may be angry with me because of my intruding upon her service and acting on that very platform to which she is so much attached. Yet I am hopeful that even though there is some misunderstanding, you will take my part, for you are very much inclined to the poor, and you always magnify even insignificant service unto you. Therefore, even though she becomes angry, I think that there is no harm. For you, because you are so self-sufficient that you can do without her. Purport. Mother Lakshmi Ji, the goddess of fortune, is well known for always massaging the lotus feet of Lord Narayan. She is an ideal wife because she takes care of Lord Narayan in every detail. She takes care not only of his lotus feet, but of the household affairs of the Lord as well. She cooks nice foods for him, fans him while he eats, smooths sandalwood pulp on his face, and sets his bed and sitting places in the right order. In this way, she is always engaged in the service of the Lord, and there is he to intrude upon his daily activities. Prithu Maharaj was therefore almost certain that his intrusion into the service of the goddess of fortune would irritate her and cause her to become angry with him. But why should Mother Lakshmi, the mother of the universe, be angry with an insignificant devotee like Prithu Maharaj? All this was not very likely. Yet Prithu Maharaj, just for his personal protection, appealed to the Lord to take his part. Prithu Maharaj was engaged in performing the ordinary Vedic rituals and sacrifices according to Karma Kanda, or fruitive activities. But the Lord, being so kind and magnanimous, was ready to award Prithu Maharaj the highest perfection service. When a person performs Vedic rituals and sacrifices, he does so to elevate himself to the heavenly planets. No one can become qualified to go back home, back to Godhead, by means of such sacrifices. But the Lord is so kind that he accepts a little insignificant service. And therefore, it is stated in the Vishnu Purana that by following the principles of Varnashram Dharma, one can satisfy the Supreme Lord. When the Lord is satisfied, the performer of sacrifices is elevated to the platform of devotional service. Prithu Maharaj therefore expected that his insignificant service to the Lord would be accepted by him as being greater than that of Lakshmi Ji. The goddess of fortune is called Chanchala, or restless, because she is very restless and is always coming and going. So Prithu Maharaj indicated that even though she might go away out of anger, there would be no harm for Lord Vishnu, because he is self-sufficient and can do anything and everything without the help of Lakshmi Ji. For example, when Garbhodakshai Vishnu begot Lord Brahma from his navel, he did not take any help from Lakshmi, who was just sitting by him and massaging his lotus feet. Generally, if a son is to be begotten, the husband impregnates the wife, and in due course of time, the son is born. But in the case of Lord Brahma's birth, Garbhodakshai Vishnu did not impregnate Lakshmi Ji. Being self-sufficient, the Lord begot Brahma from his own navel. Therefore, Prithu Maharaj was confident that even if the goddess of fortune became angry with him, there would be no harm, neither to the Lord nor to himself. Oma Gyaniti Mirandasya Dhananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitamina Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukam Karoti Maham Vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Pancha Kaltarvyascha Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to the Power of Inspiration class for Saturday night, September 5th, 2020. So Prithu Maharaj was praying to Lord Vishnu, and he was praying for some service. He wanted to do some personal service for the Lord, and he thought about massaging the Lord's lotus feet. But then he was a little hesitant. He was a little afraid because Lakshmi ji is very attached to the service of massaging the Lord's lotus feet. But then he thought further that, well, even if
Falini Mataji, you've got, it's muted.
Okay. Is that better now?
Yes, we can hear now.
Okay. The internet disconnected, so that's what happened. Okay, so Prithu Maharaj was confident that because Lord Vishnu is very merciful to the poor, and he always accepts even the most insignificant service, and in fact, he never forgets even the most insignificant service. So Prithu Maharaj felt confident that Lord Vishnu would take his side, and he would defend his devotee against the anger of Mother Lakshmi. So let's read the purport. Mother Lakshmi ji, the goddess of fortune, is well known for always massaging the lotus feet of Lord Narayan. She is an ideal wife because she takes care of Lord Narayan in every detail. She takes care not only of his lotus feet, but of his household affairs as well. She cooks nice foods for him, fans him while he eats, smooths sandalwood pulp on his face, and sets his bed and sitting places in the right order. So Srila Prabhupada told us a long time ago that married ladies should follow in the footsteps of Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. So here in this purport, we get to hear about some of the services that Lakshmi Devi renders to Lord Narayan. So some of these are exactly the same as the instructions that are given to us by Sri Narada Muni in the 7th canto. We should render service to our husband, be always favorably disposed toward the husband, etc., etc. And one other thing that's not mentioned here is that Lakshmi Devi is always clean and nicely dressed, beautifully dressed. She always decorates herself nicely for the pleasure of Lord Narayan. Okay, so in this way, she is always engaged in the service of the Lord, and there's hardly any opportunity for any other devotee to intrude upon his daily activities. Interesting that Srila Prabhupada uses that word, intrude. It's almost like Lakshmi Devi is expecting to be allowed to continue doing all these services and not having to let anyone else do them. So that's the That's the import or the purport of the word intrude, that she doesn't want anyone else taking her service. Prithu Maharaj was therefore almost certain that his intrusion into the service of the goddess of fortune would irritate her and cause her to become angry with him. But then this is a little bit of a lesson that Srila Prabhupada is giving us here. He says, but why should Mother Lakshmi, the mother of the universe, be angry with an insignificant devotee like Prithu Maharaj? So that's a little bit of an instruction to us that we should never think that we are so important that Lakshmi Devi would become angry with us. All this was not very likely. Yet Prithu Maharaj, just for his personal protection, appealed to the Lord to take his part. Prithu Maharaj was engaged in performing the ordinary Vedic rituals and sacrifices according to Karmakanda, or fruitive activities. But the Lord, being so kind and magnanimous, was ready to award Prithu Maharaj the highest perfectional stage of life, namely devotional service. So that's interesting that Prabhupada is pointing this out, that Prithu Maharaj was engaged in Karmakanda, fruitive activities, but we're trying to achieve the highest level of pure devotional service, doing everything that we do with love and devotion for the pleasure and service of the Lord. And so what to speak of Prithu Maharaj, we should actually expect Krishna's mercy, that Krishna would also award us the highest perfectional stage of life, namely devotional service. Eventually he will, if we just stick with the program, stay on the path. When a person performs Vedic rituals and sacrifices, he does so to elevate himself to the heavenly planets. So there's not any possibility that Prithu Maharaj was trying to get himself elevated to the heavenly planets. So why was he performing these Karmakanda activities? Well, we see that he is praying to the Lord for pure devotional service. Is that you, Ujjwala? I think I see your deities. Maybe not. Anyway, welcome, whoever's right there on the screen. So Prithu Maharaj was praying for pure devotional service, and Lord Vishnu was ready to award pure devotional service to Prithu Maharaj. When a person performs Vedic rituals and sacrifices, he does so to elevate himself to the heavenly planets. No one can become qualified to go back home, back to Godhead by means of such sacrifices. So what is that saying? What Srila Prabhupada is saying, if our goal in life is to go back home, back to Godhead, we shouldn't waste our time in Vedic rituals and sacrifices. In one place, Srila Prabhupada says that mostly those sacrifices involve animal killing. And of course, we don't have any interest in that. I just read that today. So, but the Lord is so kind that he accepts a little insignificant service. And therefore, it is stated in the Vishnu Purana that by following the principles of Varnashram Dharma, one can satisfy the Supreme Lord. So that's one easy, foolproof way to satisfy the Supreme Lord, by following his perfect system of Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. So those 4 spiritual divisions and 4 material divisions or societal divisions. If we actually we offer our service with devotion to the Supreme Lord, and we can certainly satisfy the Supreme Lord. And when the Lord is satisfied, the performer of sacrifices is elevated to the platform of devotional service. That reminds me of how it is said that chanting the holy name is the means and the end. So by chanting the holy name, we become purified so that we can chant the holy name with pure love. So that's kind of like what was just being said here. Prithu Maharaj therefore expected that his insignificant service to the Lord would be accepted by him, by the Lord, as being greater than that of Lakshmi ji. Why? Because the Lord magnifies even a tiny service, because he's so grateful. The Lord is so grateful for even a little tiny insignificant service done with love and devotion, that he magnifies that service and he never forgets it. The goddess of fortune is called Chanchala, restless, because she is very restless and is always coming and going. I'm sure you all have heard of this mental disease called ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It's very common in America. And I've seen some children here in India also who have that problem. It's where they can't stop moving. They have to be moving all the time, even if it's just a little twitching of their foot or their hand, or doing a tick like twirling their hair or something. But they have to be moving all the time, and they have a very difficult time staying fixed and focused on one topic for any length of time. So God is describing the goddess of fortune almost in that same way, saying that she is very restless and she's always coming and going. So it just reminds me that such things are present even in ancient times. It's not that they just appeared recently, but they've been existing since time immemorial. So Prithu Maharaj indicated that even though Lakshmi Devi might go away out of anger, there would be no harm for Lord Vishnu. Just see how he's thinking of his Lord. He's thinking of Lord Vishnu so sweetly that he's concerned that, well, maybe Lakshmi would become angry with my Lord. But on second thought, no, there will be no harm for Lord Vishnu, because why? He is self-sufficient. And he can do anything and everything without the help of Lakshmi ji. For example, when Garbhodakashayi Vishnu begot Lord Brahma from his navel, he did not take any help from Lakshmi, who was just sitting by him and massaging his lotus feet. Generally, if a son is to be begotten, the husband impregnates the wife, and in due course of time, the son is born. But in the case of Lord Brahma's birth, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu did not impregnate Lakshmi ji. Being self-sufficient, the Lord begot Brahma from his own navel. Therefore, Prithu Maharaj was confident that even if the goddess of fortune became angry with him, there would be no harm, either to the Lord or to himself. Okay, so now let's go to our sharing page. I hope everyone read the chapter 12. This is a sweet little short talk that Srila Prabhupada gave at the wedding of Mukunda and Janaki in New York in 1966. It was the very first Vivaha Yagya in the Western countries. So let's read this. It's so short, we can just read it together. Marriage is for life. His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, explains in a nutshell the main pillars of Grihastha ashram in Krishna consciousness. Quote, in a Krishna conscious marriage, there is no question of divorce, he tells us. In the material world, when a man gets tired of one wife, he takes another. Or when there is some argument, there is immediate separation. But in Krishna consciousness, no. Marriage is for life. It is the wife's duty to serve the husband, to keep the house clean, cook nicely, and make her husband comfortable when he comes back from work. The wife is like Goddess Lakshmi. When she is present, nothing is lacking. It is her duty to bear Krishna conscious children and aid her husband in a life of progressive Krishna consciousness. And it is the husband's duty to protect the wife and provide for her. The wife should not have to go out and work. That is a very bad proposal. In another place, Srila Prabhupada says that it is a great embarrassment if the wife has to go out and work. It's a great embarrassment to the husband because the husband is responsible to be the sole provider for the family. It is a great embarrassment to the wife because she has to be out in the world competing with men in order to bring money in to provide for the family. It's a great embarrassment to her parents and to her parents-in-law. Now, one of the Matajis asked this week that what should we do if our in-laws are pushing us to go out and work? Well, what can you do? If they don't understand the highest standard or the highest goal of married life, that the husband is the provider, the protector, and the guide, and the wife is the homemaker and the mother, and she is the fortress who protects the husband from becoming attracted to other women and to other types of enjoyment in the material world. So Srila Prabhupada gave us the highest standard. He preached about the highest standard. But if we're living in a situation where we cannot practice the highest standard, then at least we should keep that highest standard in our heart. And we should pray for it to become manifest in our life and the lives of the other devotees, not only devotees, but everyone, mankind in general. Because this is the only way that there can be actual peace in society. If the women are protected, they stay home and do their housewifely and motherly duties at home. So let's continue. Oh, and along that same line, again, I'm sure you've heard me say this in the past, or you've probably read it yourselves. Srila Prabhupada said that man is meant for outside. He's meant for working hard. Woman is meant for inside. She is meant for homely comforts. So it's not that we women don't work hard, we work hard. But we work hard within the confines of the home, and we're in charge of household, collecting the household paraphernalia, keeping the house clean and neat and decorated nicely so that when our husband comes home, it can be a peaceful atmosphere for him to rejuvenate himself. Okay, now we'll continue. The wife is never to be independent, but is to be protected and remain at home. In this way, the marriage will go smoothly. And even if there is some argument, there's no question of separation. Argument between husband and wife, it is said in the Vedas to be like thunder without lightning. It's also compared to thunder in the morning. There is much noise, but no danger. And as far as thunder in the morning, they say that there's much noise, but no rain. So remember this, live together in Krishna consciousness and be happy. So that was such a sweet little speech that Prabhupada gave for the benefit of Mukunda and Janaki. And not only did he perform the fire yajna and give the pravachan, but he also cooked a humongous feast for that wedding festival celebration. Perfect host. Prabhupada was such a perfect host that the whole time everyone was taking prasadam, he was walking around with one pot after another, going up to every single person and giving them more and more and more. And they were really feeling stuffed. But Srila Prabhupada was the perfect host and so cordial. He knew how to talk to everyone, keep the conversation going. He was such a wonderful host. Our dear Kirti Mataji shared a quote from Secrets of Fascinating Womanhood, quote, "Remember, it is the gentle, sympathetic woman that moves a man's spirit. A woman who is serene and cheerful, even in times of hardship." So this can be very, very challenging, but practice makes perfect. So if we practice being serene and cheerful, even in times of hardship, then we can gradually learn how to be gentle and sympathetic towards our husband. So, one question that came up this past week from 2 different Matajis was this, and I will kind of amalgamate their 2 questions into one. Quote, I want to know what it means to be satisfied. My whole married life, I have never demanded anything from my husband. Also, after coming to Krishna consciousness, I feel it's good that I should not ask anything from my husband, as it will make him work for it. But Fascinating Womanhood says we should ask for what we need from him. Please guide me, as from my childhood I've heard my mother say that a woman who is satisfied is the real asset of her husband's family. So I thought about the question for a couple of days, and then I wrote, satisfied means that we accept our husband as he is, and we stop wishing he were different or trying to change him. Remember how my husband described it? We tried to do that. And when we practice that, then we feel more and more satisfied. It's not that we never ask our husband for anything. He likes it when we ask him for things that we need, and even sometimes for things that we just want. So now here's a quote from Fascinating Womanhood, Secrets of Fascinating Womanhood. Quote, the way a young girl asks shows that she respects her father's authority. So this is an important thing to remember when we're asking for something from our husband. We have to remember that he is the authority. He is the leader in the family. And because he is, at least he's supposed to be the provider, he's bringing in the Lakshmi. So we need to respect that he's in charge of the Lakshmi. Of course, you may be in a situation like I'm in, where your husband gives you an allowance. So that's what we do. My husband gives me an allowance. He gives me a budget, and I keep that in my purse. And whenever I need something, I just I go and get what I need, as long as it's within my allowance. So let's see. So when a little girl asks her father for something, she respects her father's authority. So we need to respect to enjoy his manly role as leader and provider. So again, we try to practice like that, allowing our husband to enjoy his manly role as leader and provider. So the father just can't help wanting to please his little girl. So that's the same with our husband. He will want to please his wife. Exactly the same approach works for us with our husbands. Why? Because when we ask submissively, we place him in his proper role of leadership. We make him feel masculine and strong. Therefore, our husband will want to do what we ask of him, if he's able to do so. And we might interject if it's beneficial for our Krishna consciousness and for the Krishna consciousness of our husband and our children. And he will enjoy doing it for us, especially the satisfying feeling he gets from pleasing us. And what's more, his love for us will also increase. A man will go to great lengths to satisfy the desires of the woman he loves. The more submissive and dependent on him she is, the greater quote. So it's not that we never ask for anything. We are satisfied that Krishna has given us such a nice husband who is trying to be his devotee and who is providing for us, protecting us, and guiding us in devotional service. So we are satisfied with our husband as he is, and he loves it when we ask him for things in a trusting, childlike way. Therefore, we shouldn't hesitate to ask for our needs. We shouldn't be too self-sacrificing. It's better for our husband to spoil us a little. Helen Andelin talks about this in Fascinating Womanhood. She shouldn't be too self-sacrificing. Of course, you know, married life is a sacrifice itself. And being a wife and a mother is a sacrifice. But we shouldn't be too austere and deny ourselves things that we need. Okay, so our husband will be happy if we give him a chance to spoil us a little. Okay, so now let's go to what happened. I lost. Okay, here we go. Oh, I guess I didn't open it. I'm sorry. All right, so let's see. I need to open Secrets of Fascinating Womanhood. Okay, and we're going to do page. We're turning to page 176. Okay, so assignment 2 and 3 were today's homework. So for 2 whole days this week, say to your husband in a positive, loving way. And say it with a melodious voice and a smile. Observe the difference in his reaction. So I hope everyone did this. Little exercise. I especially practiced this week smiling and trying to make my voice sound more positive and cheerful. And okay, so assignment number 3, sing in the hearing of your husband at least once this week. So okay, so you can hear me? Okay, so that's pretty much all I had prepared for tonight. Does anyone have any thing like, anybody have a question or a comment or a realization or an experience that they would like to share with the group? Oh, and I want to personally thank Shama Mataji for teaching her class about how to interest our children in Krishna conscious activities. And also I want to thank Mother Indira Saki for teaching a very nice class on Thursday evening about reading Srila Prabhupada's books. Because of your enthusiastic class, which unfortunately I wasn't able to hear very much of because of technical difficulties with my computer. Still, I heard enough that I got so fired up that I decided to propose to my husband that he and I read the Nectar of Devotion together. So we started doing that yesterday. So thank you for that inspiration. Okay, does anybody have something they would like to share? One other thing I want to share with all of you is that after lunch today, my husband was saying that he really liked the lunch and he was doing the dishes and he said, "You're the best. You're the best." And nobody ever said that to me in my whole life. So I felt surprised. I didn't exactly know how to take it, but I just went over and I kissed him on his cheek. And I'm thinking that I'm going to return that compliment sometime when it's just the right time. So I'm going to be putting that in my love booklet. He said that to me today.
Yeah, Mataji Danvat Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I want to share something.
Oh, good.
Yesterday even my Prabhuji, he complimented me. He's saying that you are the best gift Krishna gave me, and I'm so lucky that you are in that you love Krishna so much, and I'm so lucky to have you in my life. And
Wow.
yesterday-
That's
yeah.
wonderful to be like that.
Yeah, and day after tomorrow is my birthday, Mataji. So he told me that I want to take you to Vrindavan Dham, though the temples are closed. So let's celebrate because it's been 20 years of my married life. He never said this to me. We never celebrated our birthday. He never celebrated my birthday. And he said, let's go together. We'll drive and go to Vrindavan and we'll do chanting. There and then we'll come back. That we'll spend
Awesome. Oh, that's so wonderful. So
thank
enlivening.
you and all Matajis here in the group. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sri Lanka. That's awesome. Anyone else have something nice and positive to share? Or if you have a question or even a problem, maybe we can try to help. Maybe I'll share with you something um, that was brought up to me today. One Mataji, who is a friend, she's having some problems because she has to take some medication and it's causing some imbalance in her body. She's having some, what do you call that when you get a negative reaction from taking medicine? Side effects. She's having some side effects and it's making it hard for her to sleep at night. So she was reading the story of King Puranjan, and she told me that she was feeling fearful, just like Puranjan Maharaj. So I told her, okay, why don't you go through the chapter and find out all the things that are mentioned as causing fear. Because I told her that Janaki Pandit says that fear is conquered by scrutiny. So when we look carefully at what is causing the fear, then that helps to relieve the fear and make it go away. So she wrote back and she said, one of the things that is mentioned as causing fear is when King Gandharva Raj Chandabega and his followers began to plunder the city of Puranjan, which is the body, the material body. A snake with 5 hoods began to defend the city. So that snake with 5 hoods is compared to the 5 heirs within the body. Because he had to fight alone with so many soldiers, 720 soldiers, because they represent 360 days and 360 nights. So 360 and 360 is 720. So those are all the 720 soldiers of King Chandrabega. They were all attacking the body of Puranjan Maharaj. So because he had to fight alone with so many soldiers, all of whom were great warriors, the serpent with 5 hoods became very weak. Seeing that his most intimate friend was weakening, King Puranjan and his friends and citizens living within the city all became very anxious. So Srila Prabhupada explains that when one is getting close to the time of death, then the life airs in the body become disturbed, and one becomes weak. And somehow that inspired me to look up the features of old age that are talked about by Vidura to Dhritarashtra. And Dhritarashtra was old. Vidura told him, your throat is filling up with mucus, your hair is falling out, you've already been blind from birth, and now your hearing is becoming compromised, and your memory is shortening. So all these things happen to the soul when the soul is suffering from old age and getting close to death. So then this Mataji, she said, as I am feeling that I am Puranjan, so she was taking the part of Puranjan as she was reading the story. She is feeling restless because of these side effects due to the medicines. So just by reading the story, by sharing it with another friend, it helps us to overcome fear. Every one of us has different fears, and the ultimate fear is the fear of death. So by taking shelter of Krishna, by doing our duties as chaste and faithful and devoted wives and mothers in Krishna consciousness, we are gradually overcoming our fears, and especially the fear of death. So when we become purely Krishna conscious, when by Krishna's grace, we enter that stage of Krishna prema, then all the troubles of these bodies and of this world are completely insignificant. And we don't take them seriously anymore. So let's keep practicing, hearing the holy names, and dedicating every moment of our lives, from the time we wake up in the morning to the time we go to sleep at night. Let's practice being Krishna conscious, doing everything that we do with love and devotion for the pleasure of our Lord. And gradually we will come to that Krishna consciousness.
Mataji, what is the homework for next week? Assignment?
I didn't plan it out. I'm sorry. I didn't have much time for working on that this week. So at least, though, we should read chapter 13. And maybe what we could do is look over the assignments, and if there's anything that you feel inspired to do, you can go ahead and do that as your homework. It means you choose what you would like to do. Okay, so let's do that. Let's read chapter 13 for next week, which will be September 12th. And look over the assignments and choose what you would like to do out of the assignments, okay? And if anybody has a nice experience this coming week that they can jot down in their love booklet, something that you're not too shy to share with everyone, it will be really enlivening if we can hear about it next week, like Sri Lekha shared with us today. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone, for coming to this meeting. And I wish you all happiness and ultimate spiritual success in your lives. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Ma, for a wonderful class.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat pranam. Thank you, Mataji.
Dandavat pranam, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Haribol Kishwani.